Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for inviting me here today. My name is Hannah Arnold, and I speak on behalf of the Union of Concerned Scientists as well as all of the unrepresented life on Earth. I'm very honored to be a guest here and to have the extraordinary opportunity to speak to all of you about a subject which is deeply important to me. Humans emit a staggering amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each year. There is near unanimity in the informed scientific community that climate change is real and that it's caused by the increased concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. In fact, we are one of the last remaining developed countries still debating whether this problem actually exists, and therefore one of the last to begin acting to counter it. And increased temperatures are not the only risk posed by greenhouse gases. The mere presence of gases like carbon dioxide in the atmosphere at such high quantities may exert its own significant and negative effect on the environment. Lisa Jackson, the EPA administrator, notes that climate change associated with increased greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere may drastically affect public welfare in the future. Every aspect of the environment that we depend on could potentially be disrupted, and that includes anything from food production and water resources to coastal infrastructure that could be destroyed by resulting sea level rise. However, climate change not only endangers public welfare but also biodiversity. To understand how species may be affected by climate change, it is important to remember that changes in temperature are not the only ones occurring. A broad range of physical and biological processes can be disturbed by the smallest of changes in environment. We must also understand that climate change is neither gradual nor uniform. Opponents of environmental legislation often cite average temperature changes as too insignificant to truly affect species. But averages such as these hide information about geography, timing, and extremes. For example, the Arctic Circle has warmed much more significantly than lower latitudes, and increasing temperatures are causing events like plants flowering and birds migrating to occur earlier and earlier each year. A study of British plants, for example, indicates that they are flowering an average of 4.5 days earlier, and the peak of caterpillar season is getting so much earlier in some areas that birds are not able to migrate soon enough to take advantage of their primary food source. Other shifts in habitat ranges and reproductive timing and behavior occur as well with increased warming. These are the events that are the greatest threat to biodiversity. It is not the average global changes, but rather the immediate localized changes that leave species with no hope of survival. And I'm here to tell you that events like these are going to continue to grow in intensity and in frequency. Now, these risks to biodiversity are not just speculations made in a lab somewhere. We are currently in the midst of the 6th major extinction crisis to ever occur in Earth's history. To give some perspective, the last of these 6 extinction periods ended with the disappearance of the dinosaurs. Extinctions of species are occurring between 100 and 1,000 times faster than the normal background rate, and once a species is gone, it's gone forever. These species losses are of direct relevance to public welfare. The environment is a very complex system in which species and processes have essential and complicated connections to each other. As such, species loss can fundamentally change ecosystems, altering ecosystem functions and therefore ecosystem services that we receive as humans. These ecosystem services, which include the direct benefits we receive from biodiversity, are estimated to be worth $33 trillion per year, and include such benefits as erosion control, water regulation, nutrient cycling, pollination, and recreation. This $33 trillion is almost twice the global gross national product and doesn't even include the potential value of biodiversity in medicinal research and future services that may be discovered if species are not forced to extinction. Intrinsic value and natural beauty are also not included in this already massive value and render biodiversity invaluable to us. Section 202A of the Clean Air Act requires that EPA exercise judgment by weighing risks, assessing potential harms, and making reasonable projections of future trends and possibilities. The risks that our current rate of greenhouse gas emissions pose to the environment and to public welfare increase every day that we hesitate to take action. We have inflicted, are still inflicting, and will continue to inflict incredible damage on the very system that sustains us. Though we cannot predict every complexity of climate change, the irreversibility of such change must be enough reason to make emission reduction a priority.